Sabah everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today's video is all about the Honor Magic 2. It was officially announced on the 31st of October a few hours ago, and I'm back at the hotel after the launch event. It was an amazing event. I'm going to do for you guys an unboxing of the device, a slightly more detailed leveled unboxing. So what we're going to do is unbox the device. We're going to do obviously a walkthrough of some of the main features, DUI with the EMUI 9.0, as well as also an audio sample as well as a video sample, and of course the general impressions after having this device, with the launch event. And all of this is going to be kind of detailed out in the first post in the below the description here, so you guys can actually have a jump code to be able to go to wherever you want to go first. But let's not waste any time. Let's go ahead and check out what makes the Honor Magic 2 so special. And here we have the device. The box is actually pretty simple, pretty much just says the Honor Magic 2, and we have the device right here. This is a 6.39 inch display, this powerhouse, and what we have inside essentially is 8 gigabytes of RAM, 128 gigs of internal storage that is not expandable, but we are supporting dual SIMs on this guy, so pretty good. And we're going to go through real quick. Let's take it out of the box. Now this was a review unit that was given to me, so the packaging may not be exactly as you'd receive it if you pick up this device yourself. Currently available in the Asian market, well, pretty much just the Chinese market right now. So this one, as I mentioned to you guys, is a very unique device. Outside of the fact that, well, obviously it's slippery here, it's also a almost reflective material here. You could pretty much just, hey guys, see me right there. We have triple cameras in the back as well as triple cameras in the front. The entire front panel, as I mentioned, almost 6.4 inch display is an IPS display at 1080p. We have a power button and a volume rocker on the right side, as well as 2 antenna bands. On the top, we have an IR blaster as well as a microphone. As well, we have the other 2 antenna bands to get better connectivity. On this side here, what we have essentially is just a SIM tray, and that again supports 2 SIM cards, both capable of LTE as well as voice over LTE. So capabilities of roaming with this is going to be amazing. On the bottom, we have a bottom 5-inch speaker, a USB-C port, as well as another microphone. No headphone jack, as this uses the USB-C to 3.5mm headphone jack adapter. Overall, this device has a lot of things that were promised. Let's go ahead and put it here. I'm going to boot it up and give a vibration right there. As far as the actual packaging, what we have here essentially is they do include a case in the box. It's a hard shell case, and this is going to be used to basically obviously cover the device. It's custom made to work with the slider. Then they have some reading material and a SIM removal tool. Last but not least, we have the 40-watt charger here, USB-A to USB-C, capable of charging the 3400 milliamp battery that we have here on the Magic 2 from 0 to 80% in 30 minutes. So that's actually very, very fast. Now, even though this is a Chinese plug, you'll notice right there, this will also plug and work in the US. So very nice, very good travel charger. We have USB-C to 3.5mm headphone jack. As I mentioned, no headphone jack on the actual device. And last but not least, we have USB-C, USB-A, again, to connect either the brick or connect it to your PC to do any kind of data transfer. So what we have here is the black variant. Even though you kind of see more of a silver tone at the top, it's a gradient black. So it starts with more of a darker black coloring at the bottom, and it gradually transitions over to what they're calling gray, but it's really more of a silver color when you're holding it in your hand. We have a triple camera sensors in the back. We have basically the perfect combination. An RGB sensor, a monochrome sensor, and a wide angle lens, which gives us the ability of actually having really good images. So we have a 24 and 216 megapixels. The 24 is the monochrome sensor, and then one of the 16s is a standard focal length camera sensor, as well as one wide angle lens capable of just capturing so much more using this sensor. Now, as I mentioned to you guys, this is a case that's customized and made directly by Honor, directly provided to us. There's an opening for the IR blaster that we have at the top. So let's go ahead and put it on. As you can see, this looks really good on the device. It actually has access to all of the ports, and then of course, when you slide the device, it does slide very nicely to the bottom. It does provide coverage on the side as well as the top. It just keeps the bottom portion exposed so that when you're able to open up the slider, it works very nicely. Setting up this device is pretty similar to other phones. You just have to go through it, select the language, and then of course set up your account, the Huawei account. That it actually does support Huawei ID. The main thing I want to keep in mind here is that this is intended for Asia, so mostly for basically the Chinese market right now. So the initial release of this does not include Google Play services, although you can technically sideload them. Should not be an issue as long as you're able to connect and access the, either a site that's able to provide you with those APKs. The other thing I want to mention to you guys, of course, is there's a lot of Asian or Chinese services like Baidu is installed in here, Dolphin browser, and there's other things in here that you probably could just uninstall if you don't want to use it. It also does support party mode and Game Center, of course, as it also does support the GPU Turbo. Now, as I mentioned to you guys, this does have the Kirin 980, which means we have the first 7nm chipset from Huawei that comes on an Honor device. So for the most part, this is kind of like the little brother of what the Mate 20 Pro is, or basically the new Mate 20 Pro, as this actually has, for the most part, similar internals. Now we have 8 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of internal storage, again, non-expandable. We have the support for the dual SIMs, and then we'll go through some of the options here. So here's the UI, it's very familiar. It is running EMUI 9.0 with Android 9.0. They did also kind of call this the Magic UI 2.0 to emphasize the fact that this is obviously a sequel to the Magic 1 that was released in 2016. And I did do a hands-on video with that for XDA a few years ago. So we can log into the Huawei ID, we can set up the slide screen to launch, and you can customize things in there. And what that means essentially is when I slide it down, go ahead and open it up, you can customize what happens right here. I can either launch the camera to be able to take a front-facing image, I'll go ahead and go back home, or you can interface with Yo-Yo. And Yo-Yo is the new assistant that they announced. Now, the only limitation I have here is that Yo-Yo only speaks Chinese here. In Berlin, they showcased her talking English, so I'm hoping at some point we'll have other languages. But currently, she only responds to Chinese. Ni hao, Yo-Yo.
没听懂，可以试试这样对我说。
And you're able to communicate with it as long as you're able to speak the language. So unfortunately, I have no idea what she responded back to me. I just know how to say hello. I did try to use a Microsoft Translator application to be able to kind of send out some commands, but overall, her presence in this UI plays a very big role as far as like driving modes, and the way they talked about it at the launch event is she's going to be playing a very big role in automation as well as just being a better UI, basically an enhancement on what we saw with the Honor Magic 1. Now, as far as the rest of the UI, as I mentioned to you guys, this does not come with Google Play services. I sideloaded the Play Store as well as YouTube so I can play some music for you guys. And then, of course, the UI, other than that, is pretty simple. We have wireless network connectivity, device connectivity here. We have home screen and wallpaper. This is where you can get in there for the wallpapers and the themes. This is, again, built on EMUI 9, which has some of these customizations. We have gestures here. If you notice, I've been using them since we started. Up in the middle, that takes us into the gesture functionality here. And of course, from the side, it brings in that little option. This is basically our back. And then what we get here, other than that, of course, when we go into display, we're looking at text style, we're looking at screen resolution. As I mentioned, 1080p is the maximum resolution that we have, but we can downgrade it to 720p to save battery. So there's an option there for a smart option. And then of course, under more display options here, you can display the carrier name, display network speed, auto rotate screen, of course, and screensaver if you'd like to get there. More options, of course, under there. As far as sound, pretty standard stuff. You can go in there, notification sounds. Under more sounds, you can go in there as far as the sliding, turning on, all of that good stuff. And of course, vibration to touch if you'd like to turn those on. You can customize your ringtone for SIM 1 or SIM 2 independently from each other. Notifications, pretty standard options here. So app notification, badges, lock screen notifications, and more notifications. This is just how you want your system to interface when you're getting notifications on the lock screen. As with EMUI 9, you're not only able to see your notifications when you unlock without having to swipe open your device, but you're also able to basically swipe them away if you don't want to interact with them at that time. Now, under the app option, this is where you get your default app setting. This is where you can change if you want to install, let's say, a secondary launcher or any other default application to replace the standard ones built in, either be it email, music, gallery, camera, messaging, or phone. You can do it from here. We have App Twin built in that you can use, of course, and then App Gallery Assistant, the default apps, permission, and apps. Again, as far as battery, we are really supporting a 3400 milliamp battery here, capable of being recharged with the 40-watt charger up to 80% in 30 minutes. So very fast, very, very, very fast battery charging. And the reason why we have 3400 milliamps here is mostly because of the sliding mechanism. So to be able to work with the sliding mechanism, they could not squeeze in a big battery the way they normally have on other devices. So like what we have here with the P20 Pro, it's for the most part the same thickness, the same actual aesthetics as far as the design of the phone. Obviously, we're still missing the notch here because we have almost a full 100% basically screen here. Very little chin. Other than that, all of the bezels are extremely minimal. But we have a 4000 milliamp battery here where we have a 3400 milliamp battery here. We can go in there, of course, we have performance mode, power saving mode, and of course ultra power saving mode, battery usage. Power consumption, as well as the ability of going under the gear here, turning on the battery percentage. You can actually turn that on by default, it's off. Power intensive app history, of course, you can go in there. I did charge the device, that's why it has 57%, but I think it came out of the box with about 40. Now here's the storage. The only applications I've installed is the Google Play application and the YouTube app. So out of the box, other than that, it's basically 14.89 gigabytes used out of the 128. So you still have tons of storage. You're not going to have to worry about it. Even though we don't have an SD card support, this is still top notch. Now, Digital Balance is the digital well-being version, basically from Honor and Huawei. And it does the exact same thing. It's just that the UI has been kind of structured. It's a little different, so that it gives you the same information. You can still basically use it to try to manage your experience and monitor how many hours you're spending on your phone. Now, under security and privacy, this is where you'll be able to go in and set up your fingerprint as well as the face unlock. Now, there's two variants of this device. During the launch event, they talked about a version of this device that had a 3D sensor. And what I mean a 3D sensor here is, in the front here, we have three cameras, 16 and 2 megapixel sensors. And the 2 megapixel sensors, for the most part, are depth sensors, and the 16 megapixel sensor in the front is basically your main shooter. But we don't have the 3D sensor on this model. The model that has 256 gigs built into it will be the one that does carry that, and then when you pick that up, you'll be able to get the one with the 3D sensor. That one will come up at a little bit later time. Unfortunately, this one is not it, but again, we have face unlock, we have fingerprint ID, and it works quite well. You'll see the thumb area there, and then you're able to basically access it. Let's go back. And so we still have password vault, secure keys, true space, as well as app lock, private space, and file safe, of course. And then under more settings, sim lock, revoke. This is the high suite certificate that gets installed once you connect it to a PC with it, as well as managing your device administrators, and then third-party external sources for application installation. Last but not least, we have user accounts, of course, Google services. Now, even though we didn't have Google Play services or like the Play Store or other applications installed, Google X Services was actually already in here. You just had the ability of customizing it. Under settings, under system, we have the about phone and of course software update. This is what we're running. The latest version on this is 9.0.0.112, and that got pushed in as an OTA that got sent to me. So as I turned on the device, they did have an OTA and I allowed it to go through, and that's how we were able to get Yo-Yo as well as the customization of the slider that wasn't turned on by default. Other than that, we have system navigation, and this gives us the ability of changing between the standard 3-key navigation or gestures, as well as the ability of going to navigation dock. Last but not least, we have the ability of customizing the date and time. Phone clone is a great tool to transfer your data from either an Android or an iOS phone, so this is really, really good. Backup and restore, of course, self-explanatory. Simple mode, this is in case you want to use the simple mode UI. Again, you have the option of customizing it, you don't need to. So we have the Huawei Hi AI user experience improvement certification log. As I mentioned to you guys, this is intended for the Chinese market, so for the most part, this ROM does not include an app drawer. Now, it doesn't mean we cannot install a third-party launcher, and that's what I was showing you guys in the application. Now, I did download the Play Store and I installed it. It worked very easily. Just basically download the APK off your favorite site, log into it, and then download other applications. It's pretty simple. Now, for the audio test, I'm going to go do it real quick. I'm going to be playing my favorite song. It says Alex Scrindo, Jumbo by NCS. This is a single firing, bottom firing speaker. The earpiece at the top, although present, does not actually have any audio coming out of it. So we're not getting stereo audio on this, we're getting mono, bottom firing, and of course the 3.5mm headphone jack is using the USB-C adapter. Overall, it sounds pretty good. I wouldn't complain. Definitely very nice. Again, not the loudest speaker I've heard, but definitely sounds pretty clear. I'll definitely do a little bit more testing on this as time goes on with making calls and receiving calls, as well as just listening to overall speakerphone conversations using this speaker. Pretty sure all of us want to get into the camera application just to go through some of what things that we have. Now, we have Master AI or AI mode turned on here by default. You can actually turn it off so you don't actually use it when you're taking pictures, although it's really, really good and it does optimize the pictures. And with the dual NPU, the scene recognition has definitely been bumped up from what we've had in the past. We have the ability of doing aperture, portrait mode, photo mode, of course, video, AR lens. More can add the additional modes that we have. Of course, there's a lot more. There's always a lot more with Huawei. Let's go back into photo real quick. I'm going to turn off the AI and I'm going to go into the settings. So maximum resolution, we have that 24 megapixel sensor as I showed you guys. We do have that sitting in there. And then of course we can go all the way and change the different settings here. We'll go back out, go into video. Maximum resolution, it says up to 4K UHD at 30 frames per second. We're not showing any 60 frames per second, and it is defaulted to the H.264. We have object tracking, of course. This is for much better for moving objects. If you have kids or any like dogs or anything like that move a lot, you can definitely click and it'll give you the ability of basically doing much better tracking of that. And I'm gonna actually switch over. We'll do 60 frames just to keep it to resolution. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a front-facing and a back-facing video sample using the brand new Magic 2. So this is the front-facing sensor on the Magic 2. It's capable of going all the way up to 1080p, even though it's a 16 megapixel sensor. So this is gonna be just a quick front-facing video, as well as stabilization, since this is handheld, and audio sample, just to sound like how the audio sounds up from the, let's say if you're taking a video for yourself. I went ahead and switched over to the back-facing sensor, capable of going all the way up to 4K. Again, we have a wide angle lens. We have a very, very capable sensor giving us the ability of getting just really good pictures. This is just a quick audio and video sample of the back one. Again, handheld. There's no stabilization on my side, so if there's any done on the actual device, it should be very, very easy to see for you guys on the video. As far as photos, I wanted to show you guys real quick a quick night shot or night mode picture. This was an image I took right outside the window from a live stream I did for XDA's channel. Overall, what you get here essentially is a decent image. It's not the worst. HDR does a really good job, but where it does really definitely shine is when we get into that area here where those cars are sitting. You notice it's not exactly well lit. And if I go directly to the night mode one, you can see a lot more details in there. And of course, this will perform way better if the actual picture that I decided to take did not have so many lights. What do I think about the Honor Magic 2? I'm actually really excited about this device. I had the opportunity to play with the Magic 1 a long time ago, back in 2016 at CES. And some of the AI and the functionalities that we've seen there were very unique to the Magic or the Honor line of devices. Now, of course, we can see that the aesthetics, as far as the back design for the most part, were borrowed majorly from the P20 Pro, and I'm very happy with that. We kept the monochrome sensor here, and we gained basically a wide angle lens. The example would be right there. We're taking a regular picture with this. If I did 2, we can zoom in, we can see it's very good. We can still take an image, and of course, if I go wide, I can actually see the entire phone on my display. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was again a detailed unboxing, and of course EMUI 9.0 on this here with Magic UI 2.0. The aesthetics and the customizations that we have are very, very nice. One of the things that they did mention at the event is the ability to, I just used the face unlock real quick, that was pretty quick, is the ability to customize this option here, to be able to just turn it on and slide it open and then automatically take it and go into the, here you guys go, basically the device to take a selfie. So it's really, really functional and it's very nice. And you may have noticed, and I did that camera opening, is that I'm actually using the Mate 20 Pro to record this entire unboxing experience. Like and subscribe as usual. Thank you very much for the support, and I'll see you guys in the next video. I can't stop doing this.